welcome to Brier's Music Showcase. I'm Bryer and welcome back to another video. And here we have episode 5 of my CD collection series. So now we're kind of going down a level. We're only going to talk about the albums that I have in this whole section here. So again, as I said before, it's convoluted, but just roll with it. So we're going to start here, we're going to go across, then we come up, then we go down, we go to this column, then we go down again, then we come to this one, and then go down again, and we'll finish up right here. So let's just get started, because this might be a little bit longer than the last episode. Maybe not. We'll see how it goes. So starting over here, we're going to continue from where we left off. So we left off with Judas Priest in the last episode, and so we're just going to keep going from there. So first up, we have... Oop, there goes Squirtle. Oh well. Let's keep moving. So next up, we have Hellbent for Leather by Judas Priest, of course. Of course, originally this was called Killing Machine, but when they came to America, they had to change it. Okay, next we have British Steel. A lot of big hits on that album. Then we have Point of Entry. Most people don't think it's one of their best. I think it's okay. There's some good songs on it. Screaming for Vengeance could possibly be my favorite Judas Priest album. I don't know, it kind of changes sometimes. Defenders of the Faith. Another really good one. Then we have Turbo, which is kind of a polarizing album, but I think its reputation has gotten a little bit better over the years. But then we get to probably their heaviest albums. We have Painkiller, which would be the last album with Rob Halford on vocals for a number of years, but then he would of course rejoin. And there's a lot of that period I don't have, but I do have their latest album that came out, when did this come out? 2018, with Firepower. Another very strong album. Alright, so we're done with J's. Now we're going to move on to K. We're going to move on to a band from the great state of Kansas, and that band in question is Kansas. So, American progressive rock band. Very good. This is their debut, of course, with the John Brown mural picture. So if you're a historian, that's always kind of going to scratch that itch of yours. Then we have their next album, which we have Song for America. Another really great album. Another very strong album right here. We have Mask. Then we have their commercial breakthrough with Left Overture. Then we have Point of No Return. Of course, this has Dust in the Wind on it. And the last one I have from Kansas is Monolith. Another very strong album. Pretty good. Okay, we're going to move on to King. We have Carole King. Here we have my only Carole King album, which is Tapestry, of course. Fantastic album. Then we move on to King Crimson. So of course you gotta have their debut in the Court of the Crimson King. Love that cover. I've always loved that cover. I don't have that much King Crimson, honestly. I want to try and get more, but apparently their albums are expensive. But I do have another King Crimson album, but that's, well, you know. I'm not gonna do that gag in this episode because honestly, it would get kind of repetitive, and plus I'm gonna be doing that a lot. I would be doing that a lot in this episode. So let's go ahead. So I have Red, which was their last album for a number of years in 1974, but of course in the 80s they would come back. And skipping a lot more, we go to the 90s, and here I have this King Crimson album, which is called Thrack. Not bad. For a 90s album, it's not bad. Then we have Kinks. I don't have much Kinks either. I only have 3 in total, but I'm only going to show 2 because you might see it in the corner there. From here we have the Kinks are the Village Green Preservation Society. Could possibly be my favorite Kinks album as of right now, but I haven't heard that many. But this is the first Kinks album I ever bought, which is Arthur, or the Decline and Fall of the British Empire. Okay, we have Kiss. I don't have much Kiss either, but here we have the debut. Then we have Kiss Alive. And finally I have Kiss Destroyer. Alright, then we're done with K. Now we move on to L. So first up we have Cyndi Lauper. I only have one, and that is True Colors, which of course has the title track. Fantastic song. I just realized this is out of order. This one was supposed to be first and then Cyndi Lauper, but we'll roll with it. Here we have Patti LaBelle with Gems. Solid album. Solid album. I do like some Patti LaBelle. So let me just fix that right now. So you're supposed to go there. Alright, next. Led Zeppelin. Led Zeppelin is separated, but I do have one in here. That is Into the Outdoor. I'll showcase my Led Zeppelin collection another time. Same thing can be said for John Lennon. Again, I do have more, but again, here we have John and Yoko with Double Fantasy. Yeah, it's a pretty good one for John to go out on. Of course, they would release a posthumous album, but I wouldn't mind if this would have been his last album. Some great songs, just like Starting Over, Beautiful Boy, Woman. Yeah, and I do like a couple of the Yoko songs, surprisingly. I know, call me crazy. Then we have Annie Lennox. This one's called Diva. Get in there. There we go. Now this one is a weird one because I really don't know where to originally put this, and so it came down to the fact that this was originally based on the sound on the composer, which is Leopold Strawinski, whoever. So this is the soundtrack to Fantasia, and it came in 2 CDs, 2 separate jewel cases, which is kind of interesting. Yeah, again, I just put that in the L's because that's the name of the composer, and the full name is the Leopard something orchestra, whatever. So yeah, that's why it's an L. If you like classical music, get the Fantasia soundtrack. For classical music, it's pretty good. Alright, next up, let's keep moving. We have another obscure band. This was another suggestion by a viewer. This was like early on this channel's history, but this viewer recommended me this band, and I bought their album, and I was pretty impressed with it. I kind of liked it. So the album's called OKURA, and the band is called Like a Storm. So they're a New Zealand band, and they incorporate heavy rock with a didgeridoo, which is kind of interesting. Then we have Linkin Park. I do like some Linkin Park. I only have 2 albums of theirs, probably their best albums. We have Hybrid Theory. Then we have Meteora. Then we have some Lynyrd Skynyrd. We have their debut, which is called Pronounced Lynyrd Skynyrd. Second Helping. And final one, we have Street Survivor, which is the last album before the plane crash. And this is the original cover. I do know that after the plane accident, when the album came out, they had to change it because, of course, you have the band with fire. Bad timing there. But on the CD issue, they put the original cover back. Let me know what your thoughts on that is. Okay, we're done with, hit the bass. But we're done with L. We're done with the L, so now we're going to move on to M. So first up, we have Madonna. I only have 2 Madonna albums. Now, of course, we have Like a Virgin. And then we have Like a Prayer. The Mamas and the Papas, If You Can Believe Your Eyes and Ears. Then we have this Barry Manilow Greatest Hits. Amy Mann, who is originally in a band called Till Tuesday, I believe. I don't have any of their albums, but I have her first solo album, which is called Whatever. Very good stuff. I like this one. Alright, we have Marillion. We have Fugazi, which I think this is their second album. And we're done with this whole row. We move up over here. Still talking about Marillion. We have Misplaced Childhood. Then we have probably my favorite Marillion album, and the last one with their lead singer Fish, with Clutching at Straws. Marillion definitely have a very Genesis influence, because the lead singer of this band at the time definitely had a very Peter Gabriel-esque vocal. So go give it a listen if you haven't already. I still need to check out the post-Fish era with Steve Hogarth, I believe that's his name. So someday we'll get to those. Okay, Bruno Mars. We have a little bit of Bruno Mars. We have Unorthodox Jukebox. I do like a bit of Bruno Mars. Alright, now we have more black metal. Here's Mayhem. This is their live album, Live in Leipzig. This was in Germany. And yeah, I'm not going to go into the details of Mayhem because that's a whole can of worms for another time. But for a black metal live album, you'll get exactly what you get. It basically has like bootleg quality audio, which, you know, in black metal, that's kind of what they want. So whatever. Alright, Paul McCartney. So for the Paul McCartney stuff, I incorporated both solo and Wings. That's at least how I put it. So, and of course, I also included Paul and Linda, which brings us to the first Paul McCartney album I have, and that's Ram. And then we have the Wings stuff with Band on the Run, which is probably my favorite Paul McCartney album as of right now. Then we have the live album, Wings Over America. Again, possibly my favorite Wings album. Or live album, I should say. Flaming Pie, which is one of Paul's 90s albums. Very good stuff. Then we have Michael McDonald with his first solo album with That's What It Takes. Something fell down there. John McLaughlin with Extrapolation. John McLaughlin, for those who don't know, is a jazz guitarist, and very good one at that. Then we have Meatloaf. I have a couple Meatloaf albums. Of course, we have Bad Outta Hell. I mean, you gotta have Bad Outta Hell. And I do have this one. This was 1984, I believe. This one's called Bad Attitude. This is a really good album. Again, most people don't talk about any of the non-Bad Outta Hell albums with Meatloaf, but I think this is a really good album. There's some good songs on here, like the title track, which the title track is actually a duet with Roger Daltrey of The Who, which is kind of cool. Modern Girl is a good song. Nowhere Fast, Piece of the Action, Cheating in Your Dreams, Don't Leave Your Mark on Me. Very solid album. I enjoy this one. But that being said, of course, we have Bad Outta Hell 2, which has the big hits. If I Do Anything for Love, but I won't do that. And the other songs in the album is really good too. And then I have his last album that he released back in 2016. This one's called Braver Than We Are, which has Jim Steinman, of course. And you know, at this point, his voice is nowhere near what it used to be, but it's fine. I think there's some decent songs on here. Probably my favorite song is the second song, which is called Going All the Way, which is an 11.5-minute song, but it features Ellen Foley, who of course sung the song Paradise by Dashboard Light with Meatloaf back in the first album, so that's kind of cool. So yeah, not a bad album, but you know, take it from what you will. And then last up, I have this very crappy Meatloaf greatest hits. Again, avoid these types of greatest hits because these are terrible. Man, it's really this greatest hits is why I ignored Meatloaf for so long, because of how bad this is. So don't touch these. Alright, now we go back to the metal. We have some thrash. Of course, we mean Megadeth. So first up, we have Peace Sells, but Who's Buying? And then we have Rest in Peace, which, by the way, I want to quickly address. Of course, there are many people, I've shown these CDs before, and so a couple people have been mentioning that these are not the best versions of the albums because they remixed them and they included some things that weren't on the original CD. And again, I personally don't care. I just got these. They sound fine to me. That's all that matters. I'm sorry if I sound a bit harsh there, but that's just my opinion. Maybe I'll get the original CDs one day, but right now I'm happy for what I have. Anyhow, Countdown to Extinction. Then we have their latest albums. We have Dystopia. Then we have The Sick, The Dying, and The Dead. And The Dead, which is the last one they released last year. Very good. Like, even today, Megadeth is still going strong in my opinion. Alright, now we're up to this column. We have Men at Work with Business as Usual. And then we go back to the thrash metal. We have Metallica, of course. We have Kill 'Em All, the first album. My favorite Metallica album, Ride the Lightning. And the first Metallica album I got, and also the first metal album I've heard in general, and that is Master of Puppets. Alright, and I do have And Justice for All, but it's not going to fit here, so skip that one for now. We have the Black Album. Then we have Michael Schenker Group. Fantastic. I only have two, but the two I have, I very much enjoy both of them. This one's just called MSG, which is just the initials. Very good album. Then we have my favorite one. We have Assault Attack, which has Graham Bonnet on lead vocals, which of course you can kind of see, hopefully you can see on the back. Like, Graham is right there, the one with the short hair, which was pretty unusual for a metal singer at the time. Of course, the reason why he has short hair is because before he got involved in the hard rock and metal scene, he was actually a pop singer. Imagine that. Okay, George Michael, I only have one. We have Faith, his first solo album. Pretty good. And then we have quite a bit of Joni Mitchell, one of my favorite female artists ever. Here I have her second album. We have Clouds. Ladies of the Canyon. Blue, the first Joni Mitchell I ever bought, and I loved it right away. For the Roses. My favorite Joni album, as of right now, Court and Spark. The Hissing of Summer Lawns, very appropriate for right now, because it's summer, by the time I'm recording this. Hygeria. Then, skipping a ton, we have Turbulent Indigo. And then the last Joni album I have is Both Sides Now, which is her re-recording some of her songs, and to me has the best version of the title song. Just a beautiful song. Alright, Midnight Oil. Here we got 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's a mouthful. Then Diesel and Dust. Alright, and then we have, this is another kind of oddball album. I just kept it because it kind of has a historical significance to it. I'm not a fan of the music, but like I said, there's some historical things about it. And of course, that's Milli Vanilli with Girl, You Know It's True. Of course, we all know the huge controversy of because the two guys don't actually sing. They lip sync everything. So they got caught. They lost a Grammy. So yeah, again, I'm not a huge fan of the album, but it's kind of funny owning it, I guess. All right, we're almost done. We just have this last column to go, and we'll call it here for today. So let's talk about some jazz. We have some Charles Mingus with Mingus very good album. All right, and then we have Southern rock. We have Molly Hatchet. Great album. Then I have this greatest hits of Eddie Money. Yeah, pretty much has all the big hits you ever want. Then I have this Monkees greatest hits, which is decent. This was a 70s compilation. And I do have a little mini box set of the Monkees, which I'll show when we get to all the miscellaneous stuff. Okay, Montrose. Great album, and fun fact, this is the first album to feature Sammy Hagar. This was pre-Van Halen, so there he is on the back. Again, hopefully you can see right there. Then of course he's on the front cover because he's on the side right there. Let me just, hopefully I can get that in frame. Yeah, so him right there. All right, Moody Blues. You have Days of Future Past. Fantastic album. In Search of the Lost Chord, kind of going more psychedelic approach. On the Threshold of a Dream, great album cover by the way. A Question of Balance. Then I have one of their 80s albums with The Other Side of Life, which I kind of liked. Alright, and then we have Van Morrison. I only have two, and these two are all considered his best albums. We have Astral Weeks. This one I probably need to listen to more. It hasn't fully clicked with me yet, but I did enjoy it. And then I think I enjoyed this one a little bit more. We have Moondance. Alright, my only Motorhead album, and I really want to get more soon, but this is their probably the most well-known album with Ace of Spades. Heavy album. Of course, Lemmy, of course. Gotta mention Lemmy. Alright, Mott the Hoople. My only two are All the Young Dudes, produced by David Bowie. Well, I think produced by David Bowie. I know he helped write the title track, but I can't remember if he produced the whole album or if he just provide the one song. Let's see. Yeah, produced by David Bowie. Cool. Anyhow, then we have the album just called Mott. Great album. Then we have Mountain with Climbing, which has the big song Mississippi Queen. Again, very heavy for the time. 1970 this came out. What a great guitar album. Then my last M, which is Mr. Big with Lean Into It, which has this great, again, this is a train wreck that happened in Paris. And of course, this was an inspiration for a Tom the Tank Engine episode. So yeah, I kind of like the cover because of that, the train historic significance of it. But the music itself is kind of like your typical late 80s hair metal stuff. It's pretty good, but again, by this point, the whole hair metal thing was starting to get a little bit old. But again, not a bad album. I do want to check out more of them someday. Alright, and we are going to close out with a couple ends. First up, we have Nazareth with Hair of the Dog. Another fantastic album. Great guitar riffs, and the vocals are very good, very gritty. Just love it. And then we have another progressive rock album. This one, of course, is by a band called Nectar, and this is their album, Remember the Future. Another great progressive rock album. Love the production. The production sounds great. The musicianship is very nice. Only 2 songs, but fantastic. Go check this one out. Even a bit funky at times, which is kind of interesting. And then the last album to close out this episode, we have Michael Nesmith, as in Michael Nesmith of the Monkees. I have one of his solo albums, and that album is called The Prison. This is a concept album based on a novella he wrote, and I think it's included in the CD booklet, so you can just read it. It's very short. I think this, based on this, is only like 2 chapters of it. So if you want, so you can just read it here. But yeah, the songs go with the novella, and it's very good. I was pleasantly surprised. I mean, you have the opening theme, then it goes into Dance Between the Raindrops, which is a very beautiful song. And of course, Michael sounds great on this album. And then you have other great songs like Walking Mystery, Maria's Theme, which is 11 minutes, and it kind of goes through like a Hey Jude type of thing, where it repeats a certain phrase for a long time, but you don't get tired of it, surprisingly, because of how he's singing it. But yeah, overall, this is a great album. It's pretty hard to find. I don't remember where I got this from, but yeah, if you can get your hands on this one, whether vinyl or CD, go and give it a listen. It's very good. Sadly, I don't think it's on Spotify, unfortunately, so you're gonna have to either go on YouTube if that's the case, or maybe hopefully it's on iTunes, maybe, or Apple Music. I don't know, but yeah, go give this a listen if you get the chance. Really good. And there you have it. That concludes episode 5 of my CD collection series. Again, hopefully you've enjoyed this. We're almost done. I want to say there's like maybe 4 more episodes to go. So hopefully you look forward to those. In the comments below, let me know what was your favorite album from this batch here. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care and goodbye for now.